Vine has a fear of heights, but she is in a plane where, together with her teammates, she is about to skydive. She doesn't remember why she is here, but they all are excitedly looking at her, as it's her first time to do this. They are sitting, having high hopes for her to accomplish this mission, while in her heart, only she knows how fast her heartbeat is because of the nervousness. Then the door opens. The strong wind hit her, making her hairs fly, which made her realize that she isn't wearing any suit or parachute for support. She looks at her teammates with suspicion, who started laughing. They came towards her, and she realized that they are going to throw her out of the plane. A wave of terror struck in her heart as they didn't let her think anything and immediately pushed her. She was so scared that her heart stopped beating and she woke up. She woke up and sat on the bed with a scream, making her husband wake up in an instant, and he looked at her all startled. Her breathing and heartbeat were really fast, and she wasn't in her senses. He immediately sat on the bed as he looked at her, being all confused. He instantly asked her, "What? Are you okay?" Vine didn't know that she was out of her dream and sitting safely in the room. All she remembers is the feeling that she felt when she was thrown out of the plane. Jungkook was really tensed as he didn't know what to do at all. He was never in a condition like this where he has to calm someone down. As he was thinking what to do, her condition was getting worse. He got up and sat in front of her to ask her, "What is happening? Tell me, Vian, Vian." She didn't say anything in return, so he patted her back and kept saying, "I'm here with you. Don't be scared. I'm here. You're safe. You're fine." He kept pouring sweet words in her ears to make her come into the reality, but all in vain, as she wasn't even listening to him. Finally, he hugged her and kept patting her back. "Jungkook, don't worry. I'm here. I will keep you safe no matter what. I will not let anyone harm you. You are safe with me." Jungkook, without getting angry, without getting tired, patiently stayed with her and said those words. He didn't have a line of tension showing on his forehead as he was hugging her, because the feeling was just too good for himself too. But unfortunately, the timing wasn't right. She wasn't there to enjoy this or feel this beautiful feeling together with him. He didn't have any intention to back down now. He realized she still wasn't getting fully calmed, so he broke the hug and decided to do this instead. He looked at her in the eyes before crashing his lips upon hers. Her breathing was already disturbed, so he didn't know if this was the right decision to do it now, but he went for it when nothing else worked. He tasted her tongue softly while wrapping his arms around her waist. He closed his eyes and tried to provide as much warmth and calmness to her as possible. Her breath stopped for a second, which immediately made her come into her senses so that she could breathe. But she saw Jungkook right in front of her, and she stopped for a moment as her eyes got widened. She felt a wave of calmness in a second, and she wanted to stay here, but she had to breathe too. She broke the hug, and realizing she must have come to her senses, he broke the hug and opened his eyes. He looked at her with hope in his eyes for her to be okay. She looked at him, who was constantly staring at her with tensed eyes. She didn't say anything and looked down. Jungkook, what is it? Are you fine now? She put a hand on her forehead as it was hurting pretty badly. Fine. What happened? My head hurt so much. She started massaging her head a little, for he looked at it and held her hand to put it down. She didn't reply him, so he snapped his fingers in front of her face, for she came into her senses, and he asked her again, where does it hurt? She backed down and said, no, it's okay. It doesn't hurt that bad. Jungkook, just tell me where is it hurting? I'll massage you. Her stomach was having a bunch of butterflies dancing and jumping, for she kept staring at him. Jungkook shook his head, not knowing what happened to her. He came behind her and started massaging her whole head from left to right, for after a minute he asked her, why is your head so hot? Fine. Because of you. Jungkook. What? She shook her head as she said, no, no, I mean nothing. Jungkook. But literally, what happened to you? Did you have a bad dream? Or should I say a nightmare? Does it happen often? I never saw you so scared. She finally remembered that she was sleeping and had that dream where she got a panic attack after waking up. Her breathing got a little fastened again as she remembered that. Fine. It doesn't happen often. Just, I had this dream where I'm falling off the plane and he noticed she can't say it without getting scared again. Jungkook. Okay, forget that. Your head is really hot. Let me put some ice pack on it. You should lie down, he said and moved away from her. He helped her to lie down on the bed and went to get the ice pack. After returning, he sat beside her closely and put the pack on her forehead, for she started hiccuping when his hand touched her forehead. This was really the first time she got to know that he cares for her too, so the amount of shock was too much for her. Jungkook noticed her and immediately said, what happened? Do you need water? Before she could answer, he said, "Get up, let me make you drink water," he said as he poured water in the glass from the jug that was on the side table and helped her to get up, for she started hiccuping more. Then she drank water, but it didn't stop. Jungkook, drink more. Fine. It won't stop until you stop. Jungkook, what do you mean? Wyan, nothing. Just stop making me drink water. I will be fine. Jungkook, I don't get it, but if you say so, he said and put the glass on the table again. He picked the ice bag again to put it on her, but she said, "And don't do that too. I can't control it anymore." Jungkook, why? Is it too cold? Let me put the blanket on you, he said and covered her with the blanket, for she hiccuped again as he looked at her, and she said, "Are you really that innocent or only acting to be one?" Jungkook, what do you mean now? I don't really get your conversations today. Are you still not out of your dream? Fine. Nothing. She sighed in despair. Jungkook kissed her on the forehead and laid beside her on the bed. As he said, "It's gonna be totally fine. Don't worry." Her eyes widened as she said in a low tone, "How is it gonna be fine if you do this?" Jungkook, what did you say? Fine. Absolutely nothing. He smiled and switched off the lights. As he laid down, he put his hand on her hairs and patted them until he slept, without caring about how hardly she is controlling herself from bursting out of shyness.